Welcome to Meta Tripping, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I've been having some mind-blowing experiences over here, and there is a new spread that I will be utilizing for looking into like starseed calibrations, because we've had a lot of them. So some of the, as I'm working with Spirit on these quantum tools, quantum root tools, I'm learning along the way as well, because a lot of this is based on transmissions, and it's highly invested, I guess you could say, in my following of synchronicities. And so what's ended up happening is I'm seeing so many synchronicities all of the time, and how would I describe? I think part of my issue sometimes with conveying information is that I'm receiving it at the same time and restructuring the foundational definitions that I have. You know what I'm saying? As I transmit. You know what I'm saying? What's coming through. So there can tend to be a lot of information trying to come through, and I've been working on with much help focusing on like the multidimensional configurations that condense to a point. And that's if the best way that I guess at the moment I feel that I can describe the process. But I'm now gaining more insight into the kind of the structure and the way things work, because you know, I read tarot like a lot of people, but tarot is based on a certain system towards a certain function, an evolutionary function, and Spirit is confirming that's correct. But it's just it's one factor, you know what I'm saying? Like the Kabbalah, it represents one factor or one approach to like encapsulating existence. Like the heart of existence based on where your beacon is, what it's sending out, your heart beacon, levels of your heart light, if you will, because it's a much bigger deal than it sounds. I think like when we talk about heart resonance and heart alignment, the larger implications of how this affects your entire life and the groups of which you're a part, I think that it can be lost. It can be lost on kind of like that Hallmark cutesy, you know, pink heart, rose-colored glasses, you know, kind of woo-woo slant, that to some extent can be perceived as like a binary thing when it's more of an encapsulation. Like a synthesizing kind of grid work that touches all of the hearts within a particular system, and that last part is coming through Spirit. All right, so I know that's a lot, but the sheer beauty of these channels is channeling information that, you know, you may or may not be able to read in a book. It is very liberating when we're talking about perceiving, or, well, Spirit is giving me traveling beyond the matrix. All right, y'all. So I'm going to, according to this new spread, this spread covers Sirian consciousness, Lyran consciousness, vegan, consciousness, Pleadian consciousness, Arcturian, Orion, and Andromedan. It also touches on fairy. It touches on the multiverse, 0 point, and just like the binary system calibration that we require to be liberated. All right, from the perception of duality. Okay, all right. So I got all of that out, and thank you for listening in through all of that, because one of the things that I've seen, in my life, I have been, or experienced rather, in my life, I have been very, very pinpoint about so much. I have a lot of paradoxical energy in my chart. I've been told that through having my chart read, I've had some very unusual auric colors. And so that's how I knew. I mean, I didn't identify as indigo, but I was told that there was indigo in my aura with some other things before I ever heard of the whole indigo thing. So like, this is how you know you may be having experiences that are touching on how your spiritual guidance, your spirit team has been communicating with you and planting the seeds, or helping you plant the seeds and lay the foundations for you to be able to come into a conscious awareness of your quantum nature, and your ability to operate beyond the matrix. And that's coming through spirit, that last part. All right, y'all. So I'm going to start off with, I'm definitely working on keeping my, my intros briefer. Oh, but there was a point that I kind of got off of when I was talking about pinpoint energy. With the paradoxical energy in my chart, there has been a focus through Virgo. I've mentioned other factors before that, I saw it in myself. It really, and I'm not talking about the draconic chart, which I highly encourage those of you interested in the astral constructs. I highly encourage you to look into draconic charts, because they really touch on the heart of your soul lessons. To me, it is very different. I find the natal chart to be more of how to look at the purpose for what you might consider confining or imprisoning or limiting experiences, and kind of how you distill what that level of compression creates in your essence. You understand what I'm saying? The draconic chart, however, is talking about something closer to existential, in terms of like the high points of why you would incarnate in the first place, from beyond duality consciousness. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But so when when I'm relaying things and releasing the tools that come through, it's coming from a place of me having wanted to not bridge not form a bridge necessarily, but be able to zoom in from the level of consciousness where I reside in the quantum level of things, zooming into the microcosmic level of things, and being able to kind of align things, obviously balance them, but align and refine, which is very Virgoan. I'm not a Virgo sun sign, but I do have very significant Virgo energy, or significant energy in a Virgo house. So anyways, I'm going to move on to, we're going to start with Sirian and the Sirian focus. All right. So Sirians, for the next month, what you guys are going to be working on is release. So the card that came up is the very first card in the Sacred Seed suit of the Quantum Root Oracle, and it's aligned in this deck for purposes of giving you access to being able to up level your 2D consciousness. All right, which I have come through working with the deck and communing with spirit. I've come to comprehend it's like the inner child level, or at least a level where we process emotional experiences. And it's coming through spirit, distill art strains. So the vibes that I'm getting of how this is impacting Syrians are starting to awaken, many through the realm of dream, to the fact that what they've been handed is not handed in life is not actual fact. It's not the end all be all, and it's really mutable. That these situations, I think, for a lot of people with significant Syrian ancestry, there's a deeply essential level that has caused us to, should I say struggle? Okay, so through spirit, it's like has caused us to have to maneuver through a genius level of self just to be able to simulate density, like this level of density, in the simulation and below. So that could be a disorienting thing. What it seems like with the energy now is we have now through this binary work that our avatar, our physical avatar has undergone, which has been quite painful. We have now gained, well, Spirit is correcting me saying are gaining this ability to embody from a state of, embody a state of density. Okay, so according to the needs that arise. So Spirit is saying it's rendering fear irrelevant. So marinate on that. It is miraculous, y'all. I'm going to pull one more card. And this is going to be a card for synthesis. All right, so what came out is good comes to me. This would be kind of in this spread. This would be kind of an internal level of yin, because like a Sirian yang force would kind of have to be experienced here. Is like what I'm understanding, if you will. Well, Spirit said what I'm transmitting, so it's what I'm transmitting actually. From higher levels of perception, Spirit is saying. So with You're Allowed to Cry, this release work, the subtext is hope is humble. And if any of you have started to apply that, because it was mentioned in the weekly for the week of the 23rd, if you've begun to apply that, then you're probably seeing how very, I don't even know if medicinal is the right word, but how very almost automatically clearing it actually is, just to access that from the point where we're finding ourselves now. It's a level of transmutation that is, it makes you realize how very vital you are in the multiversal scheme of things, is what I'm being given, as well as how endless existence is. So that's the kind of stuff that we're processing, and it's beautiful. So even though we're still dealing with some of this waning moon energy, which can come with things that have to kind of fall to the wayside, when we cooperate with the process by allowing ourselves to have hope, and here it's like hope is humble, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, allowing ourselves to release, shed tears, gain insight, and get in touch with that very tender and important place within us, so that our inner child no longer has to carry these burdens, which contributes to depression and various forms of self-rejection and confusion, possession, entity, being occupied by, lower vibrational kind of parasitic entities. All of that is washing away as we allow for hope to become kind of the going back to that state for the inner child on deep, deep, deep levels, deep inner levels of when we could breathe through water, and process and just let things flow and follow the wave. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a deep, deep, deep and beautiful process beyond infinity. Good comes to me, being the synthesis card, is a gratitude card, and that's a part of what's coming out in this process. Gratitude is being uncovered. And kind of an increasing lack of needing resistance. So this good comes to me card is a state of allowance. And, I know for myself that has been very, very difficult with the kind of life walk that it was time for me to experience from what an elder spirit that chimes in for guidance, and I am so humbled by, is relaying. Okay, so yes, this process, Syrians, can be difficult, and it can feel like you're falling apart. But remember, like, all of your density points for foundations, they're always spinning. You understand what I'm saying? Whether that's visible or not, that's coming through spirit. You're learning how to balance a state of solidity that is ever fluctuating. All right, y'all. So I'm going to leave it there because y'all, you know, from all of the work that has been done, this is, you know, you're going to comprehend it as far, you know, as far as, you know, I'm concerned. I feel like whenever it's time, if it's sounding like way out there, it is very pinpoint and very out there at the same time. It is the paradox that my natal chart has described me as. All right, so I'm going to move on. Thank you for tuning in, Sirians. Lyrans, my dears. Just a moment. I'm clearing the deck and aligning my energies. Oh, I'm feeling like so much joy waves. So much joy. The vibes I'm getting like joy vibes, but I'm also getting like condensing kind of vibes at the same time, where it's as if you're working on how to avoid lashing out and transmute the energy with your heart, the kind of the angst energy that has been brewing for months, like for at least 3/4 of what would be an annual cycle. So there can be, you know, in some of your cases, like pests, and things of that nature, attempting to intercept your light. And the key, I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling. Okay, so I'm being told to wait for the card. Okay, oh, all right, wow. I'm going to pull... Okay, I'm doing a binary focus card. As directed rather than a synthesis card, because what's being dealt with for Lyrans right now, if you're tuning in, and this is intended to be evergreen, you know, upon spiritual guidance. So, you know, you can tune in anytime, and this is going to apply to whatever it is you're dealing with. And so the card that comes out is joyous expression. The subtext is presence. And we all know Lyrans, kitties. You can look at the feline species and see that the feline species is all about presence. But sometimes with presence comes envy, or those who attempt to usurp roles. You know what I'm saying? This is where like people who attempt to like hijack destinies could come into play. But what's coming through spirit is like they have no power to do that anymore, because now where Lyrans are, where y'all are, where we are, because I have some pretty significant Lyran heritage, where we are in this process, the light is so bright from the energy that has been condensed within in this transmutation that we've been doing, that coming too close is like, and spirit is confirming this is correct, so I could say it like the Icarus flying too close to the sun. So these pests and these people who may be attempting to take from you really cannot handle your luminary light. So there's no point in going into that cat leg mode, and hiding under the bed or in in a closet because there's a thunder, you know, the rumblings of potential thunder. Your presence alone, in your sublime state of consciousness, it's got a melting force. It's like extremely harmonious and beautiful and sensual on a level that is beyond infinity. You understand what I'm saying? It is just too big to be messed with at this point. So of course you're going to attract the curious. You're going to attract certain forces to you, and depending how you're dealing with this light and how close you are, because I accept myself as the underlying card, so where you're dealing with your binary focuses has a lot to do. Some of you may be dealing with throat chakra clearing and up-leveling. I was going to say calibration, but Spirit is saying up-leveling. And this has a lot to do with those situations of, you know, that are based in self-acceptance, which the subtext of the I Accept Myself card is alchemy. And for those of you who don't have the deck yet, the underlying flower essence that's listed is Impatiens, Impatiens. And that Impatiens as a flower gives me like vibes of like having a very, you know, a very firm, sturdy stalk, if that makes sense. And that's what I feel it lends when you work with its essences, when you work with its essence. You know, because the I Accept Myself card isn't as above, so below card, it's 8D. And it is about alchemy. So your thoughts and how they transmute your pathways upward, and then kind of descend to recalibrate, is what's making it more and more possible for you to, it's like sublimely possible for you to embody your light. And this is a light that affects nations at that. So you know, working with this, you know, it's a binary focus, going up, coming down, up leveling, you know, calibrating, up leveling, calibrating, like you're embodying that light. And through that process, there probably won't be so many attempts at hijacking at this point, because they are like gnats. Spirit saying that's correct. Whatever's trying to come at you and mess with you, it's like gnats that you just kind of, you know, might have the inkling to, you know, flick away. All right. Oh, okay. And now Spirit is saying pull one more card for synthesis. Beautiful. So this is once you've embodied enough light to fully calibrate according to like your destiny script is what's coming through. The card for synthesis is Sacred Root. This is also a card with Impatiens as a floral essence, and its subtext, Sacred Roots subtext is stability. This is actually the root chakra card in the Quantum Root Oracle. It's the 23rd card, which is a very synchronous number, I find. Especially, I think, you know, for Lyrans. It's in the Sacred Garden suit, and it's 1D. All right, so like you've almost nearly transmuted like all of your lifetimes and the lifetimes of your like generational loop. All right, so at this point, for Sacred Root to be coming up as a card of synthesis, you're going to be learning more about the fabric of the multiverse and like how synchronously aligned your whims are with like the highest state of existence in the universe. You understand what I'm saying? So again, you know, let it resonate, marinate with it. Trying to see if there's any more information coming through. Spirit's saying I'm good, so I don't know. It might be that, you know, because sometimes you have maybe a little more to say from one, you know, kind of one star system focus to another. I'm going to say overall, Lyran's like, get your rest. Be good to yourself. Music is very good for you right now. Music is very good. There are a lot of there are some very wise folk who have discussed how important it is to pay attention to the radio frequencies you tune into, you know, and how to work with higher frequencies with the music you listen to. I think there's even an app that will help adjust the frequency beyond that distorting frequency that is used with popular music. So that's certainly something to look into, you know, and if I can find the information, I can't remember where I heard it. I heard about it, like I'm vaguely remembering, but I'll see about accessing that information and putting that up as a link. Yeah, self-acceptance, y'all. Self-acceptance and like joyous expression, your presence, your state of sublime being is what you're working on right now. And this, the synthesis point or the synthesis gateway is, I guess, more so a correct way to phrase this is the sacred root focus, you know, the stability that you're gaining on a multiversal level. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and peace and blessings on your ascension journey, kiddies. All right, so I'm going to move on to the Vegan star system. All right, so flowing sacral comes out, and we're doing synthesis for this reading. Joyous expression. So flowing sacral and joyous expression. So this is not about what you guys are experiencing. It's not about binary up-leveling and calibration right now. This is about expansion. You know, even like on the divine feminine, divine masculine journey, whether, you know, whatever label you like resonate with, this is where you're learning how to, if we were to put it in a yin and yang sense, how your yin and yang functions are learning to cooperate, okay? And this for you guys, I think like some of you feel like, oh, this is easy, but I think those of you that are feeling like this is an easy process are still running away from something, the way the energy feels. So it's kind of like if someone asks you if you're okay and you're like, you go into a higher octave to answer that question because you're not really feeling completely okay, but you're deciding, you know, you're going to be positive, or you're going to at least sound like you're being positive. Whether or not that's how this energy is manifesting for you personally or not. This is what you're learning to deal with right now is accepting feedback without defensiveness, and trusting that when you give feedback, that value will be seen in it. So this touches very, very much so on that flowing sacral emotional realm. This is the sacral chakra card, and its subtext is connection, and it's a 2D focused card for the Quantum Root Oracle, again for purposes of up leveling and your calibration, and in some cases such as this case, synthesis type work. So you're processing your inner child's need to be heard, your inner child's belief that you have anything to offer. And so this can be, both. The joyous expression card is something that it for you, where you're dealing with your throat chakra. It's something that helps you to be comfortable in actually being yourself. So those of you who do chakra work or are looking into it or beginning to research it, that is one of the main plights, if you will, of working with the throat chakra, is how to come out of inauthentic expression and come into authentic expression, which is really highly aligned with your sense of identity. And your sense of identity is shaped by your experiences with the group, and that is usually something you experience in your younger years. So here, joyous expression is 5D. So this is taking 2D to 5D, where there's a cooperation where connection is concerned, and the subtext of the joyous expression card is presence. So where how you are able to form connections from a state of authentic presence. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you guys are synthesizing, and it can be frustrating. A lot of you, I would say, I would strongly recommend working with, meditating on the infinity symbol, because I think that's going to help to dissolve layers that are just getting in the way, layers of compacted energy Spirit is giving me that are just at this point burdens you're carrying. You know what I'm saying? Props to Badu, on some bag lady steez. There's no real purpose for being weighed down by the criticisms of others anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And so that sort of thing is dissolving for you, especially as you focus on the infinity symbol and the wisdoms that it has to offer to you through a perceptual level that is kind of beyond, fast coming into line with your conscious awareness, but is, typically looked at as beyond the idea of conscious awareness. Some of you need to get out more, stretch your legs, work on not being afraid of the world from that inner child level. Spirit can help you clear your throat chakra. Winged beings that you resonate with can help you with your chakra work as you go through this process. I'm getting 5 weeks is where some of the densest work is going to be done. And then after that, you're going to understand exactly why all this has been happening. All right, y'all? So Spirit is telling you that that's pretty much the conclusion of the transmission, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be good to yourselves. Be brave. You have so much that you've endured in the way of feeling criticized and kicked and, maybe even ostracized at times. Some of you may have dealt with slander. I comprehend it, and I do myself have levels of self that are processing, you know what I'm saying, some of this as well. All of this was towards an end where you will stand up for yourself. on like a quantum level. And from there, these types of experiences or people wouldn't dare attempt to disrupt your waves. So keep doing the work, be brave, extend yourself, have confidence in your voice, nurture your sense of presence. Joyous expression implies have some joy in your process. Flowing sacral suggests allow your inner waters to flow as opposed to be buried underneath, myriad defenses. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings on your ascension journey. Pleadians. All right, the first feeling I got from Pleadian energy was very much like being in, like y'all are in a womb, or the aspects of myself that resonate as Pleadian. The Pleadian aspect of you, or you as more so someone who identifies as like a, more so focused Pleadian. I don't know. Forgive me, y'all. I'm still, navigating my way around understanding of all of this. It feels like the beginnings of trust, the beginnings of healing deep heart wounds on a certain level of frequency. All right, so this is going to affect your thoughts. It's going to affect your ability to, just a moment, I'm looking for the right word, process the energies that are like low vibrational and discordant, that in the past have been almost crippling to you on a nervous system level. So what is happening now, it feels like there's an encasing where you are kind of, it's that womb-like experience. And in this encasing process, you're learning to steady yourself according to trust. You guys got flowing sacral too. But okay, I'm putting it to a certain side. So you guys are dealing with binary focuses and synthesizing. And so Spirit is going to have me pull 3 cards. Okay, so you guys are dealing with, on a synthesis level, what should I start with? Synthesis or binary? Binary. Okay, so you guys are dealing with a binary focus, which is beautiful. The way this is playing out. The flowing sacral card is at the top. So your 2D experience is getting an influx of restoration energy right now in that womb-like place, an encasing that's been formed of your belief in higher possibilities for your life, for others, your goodwill, to name a few things. So good comes to me is actually a 6D card, and its subtext is gratitude. And the flower associated with dandelion, and dandelion is a bad mamma jamma. It'll push through concrete. So this is at the calibration point of the binary experience that you were having with this flowing sacral point that's on the higher end, where through the state of receptivity, you are gathering a sense of higher possibilities in connection, of the fact that you're even allowed to be loved. Just a moment. I'm trying to receive the transmission and relay it. Just a moment. This is dealing with deep issues that have to do with the mother, like the mother seed that took root here from like higher dimensional waves. Okay, so a lot of abuse was endured throughout the generations, and this caused an instability, a shakiness to the core of Pleadian foundations through this ascension process and over many years as well. So learning to receive through this aspect of self, this sacral chakra, this emotional place where you feel, where it's not just kind of that heart light happiness, but you have to feel. And when you have to feel, when you're dealing with 2D inner child type energy, it's, you know, that is a point of vulnerability where you are dependent or interdependent. Is that the right way? Okay, no, I'm being told no, not interdependency. Okay, so Spirit is saying where you learn lessons in exchange, you know? And so obviously in a society such as this, we've learned a lot of adverse, false lessons that gave us the duality experience that is an illusion of not receiving adequate exchange for what we give forth. All right. Now, the way that we're being affected, we're learning that we are worthy of having what we need. And so Pleadian consciousness has been trying to do math, like Pleadian level math, but Pleadian level math in concerns to these duality issues, you know what I'm saying, these binary issues that help us to, you know what I'm saying, like up level and condense these different experiences. And so there can be trust issues coming up with people in your lives, and reactivity, temptations for reactivity as you're processing these things. Because there's a part of you that wants to fight for your right to, you know, to be, for your right to have, for your right to feel good. You understand what I'm saying? And so these are the lessons Pleadians have been dealing with, and it has been very, very hard for y'all, for us. You understand what I'm saying? But now you're coming to a point where the meta light, if you will, is starting to, what's the word? It's like the different soul shards are beginning to take on light wherever you've placed them. So that you can up level to a point in consciousness where you can actually put them together. So this womb experience where you're having these states of gratitude and this good that's coming to you, and a lot of it can be coming through 3D. It can be these good physical material experiences of gifts and rewards and that sort of thing on certain levels that are helping you to kind of hold your shoulders up and your back straight and feel a little more important than you have, for, you know, what some might say far, you know, too long. But, you know, as Spirit is saying, as was necessary for the process. You know what I'm saying? For real. And through having that foundation, that influx of energies, rejuvenating and strengthening your foundation, you are now, and for some of you it's like a, you know, like a flower bud learning to kind of open itself, you know, taking peeks out to watch for predators, that sort of thing, as you begin to I guess bloom is the best word. All right, y'all. So take it easy with yourself. This is a good time for learning. Those of you who are inclined, studying ancient systems is going to bring back memories, Spirit is relaying. On the synthesis end, once you brave kind of that territory, is it territory? Okay, it is territory. All right, yeah. So brave that kind of personal territory. Spirit's saying that's a good enough explanation. That spiritual territory where, you know, that where you peek out and look for predators. Once you are in a place where you peek out and you kind of begin to rise up, stand up within it, regardless of what's going to come at you, you now you're going to start getting confirmations and synchronicities that are telling you and showing you why you are worthy of acceptance, why I accept myself is kind of that focus that you are, that alchemy, because I accept myself as an alchemy card, that focus that allows you to believe that you are worthy on some of your deepest levels in the binary experience. And beyond that, into your existential root. All right, y'all? When you need to ask for help, it's coming through Spirit, ask for it. Or situations could be harder than they need to be. It's like the help that's available to you is just awaiting your command, so to speak. But the command comes from a place of humility and a growing ease in your vulnerability. All right, y'all. So Spirit is directing me to conclude there, and that is a good idea because it's time to move on to part 2 so I can upload this. Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. Peace and blessings on your ascension journey. And for the next Starseed focuses, you can check the video title. We will be looking into Arcturian, Orion, and Andromedan focuses. Peace.